The affordable housing crisis in Toronto right now, despite what City Hall might be doing, seems like an impossible task. But what if an example was set decades ago, right here in the downtown core, provided a possible solution? This is the St. Lawrence community. More than 40 years ago, Ronnie Yaron was a single mom in need of a place to live when she heard about plans to create a new neighborhood just to the east of St. Lawrence Market.
It was a fabulous idea because it meant that we would be our own landlords.
What still exists today is a large mixed-income neighborhood with plenty of public space, surrounded by shops and services that also include schools, in the middle of a heritage district. Mid-rise buildings and walk-up townhomes catering to families, not social housing or private market condos, but non-profit co-ops by design.
Well, we don't own it. We don't have equity in our units, but we have ownership in the sense that we're part of a community that owns it together. So all the decisions are made by us.
The concept was born from City Hall and Mayor David Crombie in the 70s. Fed up with public housing and rental properties at the time, cut off from surrounding areas. This idea would repurpose rail lands and parking lots to create a more inclusive environment with different spaces for all, not just low income, but everyone.
They did not trust the private sector developers, so the city acted as the developer, in addition to, of course, the site planning. And they put 3,500 housing units on 44 acres, which is quite high density, but only going to 10 or 12 stories.
More new development is being added to the mix today, with expensive, high-rise condos being built within a few blocks. The difference, though, is the community involvement still very engaged and aware of the need for social infrastructure.
To me, the sidewalk is a great equalizer. When you meet people on the sidewalk, you have no idea if they live in a Toronto housing organization, a townhome, a co-op, a condominium, or a rental building. So it's a level playing field.
Talk to those who have been here a while and they'll tell you there's no place like this home, especially when so many others in the city are still looking.
This is the kind of housing that allows people to live a good life without having to have a lot of savings. Nowadays, of course, the average family can't afford to buy a house.
Co-ops can actually be found scattered throughout the city, offering affordable living to those in need, an option beyond the out-of-control rents that dominate today.
That's the whole point of co-ops, that there's not profit in the system. So yes, we are below the market because the market is out of control.
There are at least 40,000 people living in more than 180 nonprofit co-ops in Toronto, including those in the St. Lawrence community downtown. Residents aren't considered tenants, rather members, collectively making decisions on how to run and maintain the property, relying on a board instead of landlords.
The best model is one where people of all different backgrounds and incomes live together, and we don't know who's on welfare or who's, what their income is.
The model allows for housing charges to remain low, based on operating costs, and is relatively secure. Only not many are being built today in favor of governments partnering with private condo developers instead.
So some people felt it could not work because co-ops do house lower income people, low and moderate income people. Can we trust them with a multi-million-dollar asset? And the answer is yes.
David Hulchansky says Canada's national housing strategy does offer some funding, but mainly for market housing, with some provisions to provide a minimum number of affordable units. To create more co-ops and more opportunity for those in need would require more dedication from the feds and the province.
If there was the funding to do this socially mixed new neighborhood model.
The city's Housing Now strategy has set aside some funding to support a handful of new co-ops. It's unclear, however, how many units they're expecting will be built. Mark McAllister, City News.